Picture this. It's the twilight years of the Late Bronze Age, around 1200 BCE. The great palaces of Mycenae gleam, trade ships laden with copper and tin crisscross the Mediterranean, the pharaohs of Egypt rule an empire of unparalleled wealth, and the Hittite kings stand as titans in Anatolia. But then, something different happens. The sea peoples. They never materialize. No catastrophic famines cripple the land. No mysterious earthquakes shatter the great cities. The delicate web of diplomacy and trade, the very fabric of civilization, it holds. It holds. Imagine a world where that thread never broke. A world where the Bronze Age didn't collapse into centuries of darkness, but instead, just kept going. What would that unbroken continuity mean for humanity? For technology? For the very shape of our world? In our timeline, the Bronze Age collapse was a cataclysm, a reset button for an entire era. Cities burned. Empires vanished. Literacy plummeted. It was a dark age, a chasm from which new civilizations eventually emerged. The Greeks, the Romans, the Persians. But in this alternate reality, that chasm never opens. The great powers endure. Pharaohs still exchange lavish gifts with the great kings of Hatti. Mycenaean admirals still command their fleets. Assyria and Babylon continue their ancient dance of conquest and diplomacy. Knowledge isn't lost, it's accumulated. The scribes keep writing. The engineers keep building. The metallurgists keep refining. Instead of starting over, they simply evolve. Bronze metallurgy, already a sophisticated art, pushes new boundaries. Alloys become stronger, casting techniques more precise. Grand infrastructure projects, like intricate irrigation systems or monumental palaces, grow even more ambitious. The world's first truly globalized economy, based on bronze and its components, strengthens its grip, binding diverse cultures together in an unprecedented network of exchange and mutual dependence. This isn't just survival, it's a flourishing. A Pax Bronzana emerges, not necessarily of perfect peace, but of sustained interaction between dominant powers. Imagine the scale of their urban centers, metropolises that dwarf anything we associate with the ancient world, powered by advanced hydraulic engineering and complex administrative bureaucracies. Diplomacy becomes an art form, with permanent embassies and multilateral treaties. What we call international law might have its roots not in Roman decrees, but in the sophisticated protocols between the Hittite and Egyptian courts. And what about iron? It's discovered, of course, but not as a crude, readily available replacement for bronze. Instead, with a continuous, advanced metallurgical tradition, they bypass the rough Iron Age altogether. They don't just forge iron, they learn to make steel star. High-quality, mass-produced steel, centuries ahead of our own timeline. Used not for common tools, but for specialized military applications, for the critical components of complex machinery, for the structural integrity of truly colossal buildings. This isn't a transition, it's an enhancement a leap from bronze to advanced alloys, with a mastery of materials that would astonish us. But the continuity isn't just technological. Think about the cultural ramifications. Without the collapse, the distinct Greek identity, the very concept of the city-state, might never emerge. There's no Homeric epic born from the ashes of Mycenae. No classical philosophy blooming in the Agora. The Phoenicians continue their maritime dominance, perhaps establishing vast, permanent trading empires stretching far beyond the Mediterranean, down the coasts of Africa, into the Indian Ocean, maybe even across the Atlantic. What happens when these continuously evolving Bronze Age empires encounter the civilizations of sub-Saharan Africa, or the burgeoning cultures of India, or even the peoples of the Americas, centuries ahead of Columbus? Would they trade? Conquer? Assimilate? The absence of the Bronze Age collapse means no Dark Ages for Europe, no distinct Archaic period, no classical Greece, no Roman Republic, no empire. The very foundations of Western civilization as we understand it simply wouldn't exist. Instead, the world is dominated by a collection of ancient, hyper-sophisticated, endlessly evolving Bronze Age superstates, perhaps with a shared lingua franca, a common script, and a syncretic pantheon of gods that blend Egyptian, Mesopotamian, and Anatolian mythologies into a grand, unified spiritual tapestry. Humanity's story, its values, its conflicts, its dreams, would be utterly unrecognizable to us. This isn't just a different history, it's a different humanity. What unforeseen challenges would arise in such a timeline? Resource depletion? Overpopulation? New forms of warfare with advanced metallurgy? The possibilities are endless and profoundly unsettling. Imagine a world where the echoes of pharaohs and Hittite kings still resonate, shaping a future we can barely comprehend. What do you think would be the greatest difference in this bronze-forged future? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're curious to unravel more of history's tantalizing what ifs, make sure to subscribe and join our journey through alternate timelines.